Peace to whoever is watching this video. Positive energy always creates elevation. I hope that you who watches this is strengthened in your path and that you continue on going through whatever it is that you have to go through in order to get that much closer to where you're supposed to be, in order to get that much closer to the goals that you have in mind, in order to get that much closer to where you see yourself being. Do you ever wonder why everything seems to be a challenge? Do you ever wonder why everything seems to be difficult? Do you ever wonder why everything seems to be a constant struggle, or why you constantly are having opposition on your path and with what it is that you know you should be doing, what it is that you truly feel you should be doing, what it is that you are intuitively sensing that you should be doing, yet there's a continuous opposition there, or there's every moment that there can be opposition, there is, or every moment that there can be a distraction, you find yourself maybe not necessarily focused on what you need to be focused on in order for you to make progress, in order for you to overcome certain obstacles and certain challenges, these hard things that you have to go through. You first of all have to come to a space where you realize that, okay, what am I dealing with? Why am I dealing with this? God, the universe, they're only going to give the hardest wars and the hardest battles to their strongest soldiers and their strongest warriors. So therefore, the reason for that is so that you can continue on to grow and can continue on showing that you are a strong and you are a suitable being to be given the responsibility of that. And the more and more that you do realize and that you become aware of these obstacles and these challenges and these struggles that you do have, you then will start to grow and will start to get through these challenges. I look back and I see the times that I was very angered, or if you find yourself having all this anger and all this frustration and whatever it may be, you have to work through it. You have to overcome it, and you have to be able to get onto a different wavelength in order to then step into what it is that you need to step into, and not be distracted by that so-called frustration and that so-called distraction that is there to simply test you. And if you fail a test, then all that means is that you get to try it again. And trying it again, that process of continuing being strong-willed, being a having a lot of willpower in order to face those demons, in order to face those hard situations, is something that a lot of people don't have. And that's another thing that's going to bring up this opposition. You're going to get people that don't quite understand you. You're going to get people that think they know you, people that think they know why you're doing what you're doing, people that don't approve of your path, people that want to steer you in this direction or steer you in that direction. But you got to know at the end of the day what is right for you and what the right path for you to walk along is, aside from all that noise, aside from everything else that you hear in this world and in this reality, you have to turn off, you have to put in the work, and when putting in that work, you have to almost just shut out everything else that is a distraction, silence everything that is not helping you but is hindering you in your path that you're walking. So put end to that and strive to put end to these things and these actions, behaviors, habits, desires, lifestyles, these things that are building opposition, making it harder for you to stick to the path that you want to be on. And through this process, what and where you should go, even more details of that are going to be revealed. I'm not sitting here and saying, I know what is going to happen in my future. I know exactly how it's going to play out. I have it all mapped out in my head. And the reason why I'm talking the way I'm talking now is because I can envision it, and I know for you who's listening to this, I know exactly where you're going to go, and I know exactly how it's going to play out for you. No one necessarily knows how that's going to play out for you, because that is yet to be determined. But through the work that you put in, and through getting through these hard times and these painful times, these struggling times, these times of doubt, these times of resentment, these times of frustration, these times of anger, these times of distraught, these times of distress, these times of dismay, throughout this process, you will continue to grow and expand and become closer and closer to being able to build that reality, build that future that you do at least want to work towards, because not only will it benefit you, not only will it benefit the ones that you love, but it will also benefit the reason why you're here. It'll benefit your story. It'll benefit your life's work. So I'm going to make another video, and we're going to talk about what are the fruits that you bear, and that having to do with your life's work, and how do you leave an imprint on the world that you leave behind, that's a very important topic that has been brewing, and I'm going to speak on that. So if anyone chimes in having something to talk about where it comes to the topic of the fruits that you bear, feel free to. But back to the topic of having to get through these situations and scenarios, building yourself up. You got to go through difficult times. Sometimes you're going to have a couple of difficult things that you have to deal with during the day. Other days, the first X amount of things that are going to go smooth in the first half of the day, and then you have to hit these difficult times and these challenging, oppositioning times, but you have to get through them. You can't just give up and say, back to how it was yesterday, got through what I got through yesterday by sticking to this simple fixated mind states of I'm just going to go back to what I did the day before, and the day before that I'm only going to add certain things and be like, oh look, I got through this, now I can return back to my old behaviors, and now I can just continue to bear the fruits that I can bear, that I'm comfortable with bearing, and not continuing to grow from the situation. That's a very lackful way to go about things, to not be able to grow. And growing is essential for life. It's something that you've done ever since you've been in this existence, is grow. And that's why I asked if anyone has anything to say on the fact of the fruits that you bear. Let's hear it. And I'm a little under weather myself. Hope everyone out there is in good spirits and in good energies, vibrations, frequencies on this evening and going into this next day. And we're stronger for it. We're stronger for dealing with what we have to deal with. in putting in the work that the universe has for us to put in, putting in the work that the Creator and the greater spirit has for why we are here and for what work we have to put in. So don't give up on that. And if you are dealing with the things that I spoke about in this video, know that you are not alone, and that all other beings here are dealing with something of that nature or other, and that we're pretty much in this together because we have no choice to. We all exist here, and we have no choice but to get through these things that, sure, everyone's dealing with something specifically, but we are all dealing with life, right? We're all going through life. We're all going through this process of life, and this process of growing and expanding and existing amongst each other and amongst our paths and our purposes in life. And just keep continuing on. Don't stop. This is what you're called for. There's a reason why these things are happening to you. And the message is to stay strong and to stay with that strong willpower that you had when you came into this universe, that you came when you were born into this existence. Use that same energy that you were born with and continue to grow in that way, and think about what your purpose is here while you're here. Don't just exist here. Don't just waste away. Think about how you can actually grow. Try to build the mind, build the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual states of being. Build these so that in every single interaction you have, and we're not going to get there just right now. We're not going to just flip the switch and it's going to be right now. Every conversation that I have from this point out, it's going to be uplifting mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, or it's going to leave that expansion or growth phase, or lead to that growth and expansion phase just because I say it's going to. I've already tried that. And those of you that are able to do that and have gotten to that space, then hats off to you. But working towards that and staying in that ability to be able to be in your power that much is something that you should strive for. It's something that should be strived for. And we have to put emotions aside. We have to put desires aside. We have to put preconceived notions. We have to put certain things aside and leave them in the dirt, and leave the pieces that aren't benefiting us behind, if we're going to be able to carry that energy with us, carry that frequency, carry that vibration with us of making and putting in the work to where things are an expansion phase, things are a growth phase, and we're being persistent in that nature.